Hi friends, Steve here in, where am I? The Hollywood Hills on another trip down memory lane. And today I'm in search of as many of the cast members as I can find to visit from the 1970s TV sitcom Barney Miller. Who's a fan of that show? I was a little surprised that there were so many fans. I used to watch it all the time. It was a great show, but I hadn't seen it really since it went off the air. But so many of you have asked me to do a vlog about the cast of Barney Miller that that's what I'm doing today. And I'm going to start right here at Mount Sinai Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills at the final resting place of the co-creator of the show, Danny Arnold. To find his gravesite, you enter through the front gates and then you drive straight ahead up to the top of the hill until you see the Courts of Heritage, which is here on the right-hand side. Arnold's crypt is in the interior courtyard on the second floor. A producer, actor, writer, comedian, and director, Arnold won an Emmy Award for Barney Miller, but he was also involved with a couple of other very popular TV shows of the day. The Real McCoys, That Girl, Bewitched, My World and Welcome to It, and others. He died from heart failure in Los Angeles on August 19, 1995, at the age of 70. The other creator of the show, Theodore J. Flicker, died at the age of 84 in Santa Fe, New Mexico on September 12, 2014. Unfortunately, his final resting place is unknown. And in case you haven't yet seen this sitcom, it was set in a New York City Police Department police station in Greenwich Village in the fictional 12th Precinct. It was a very popular TV show which ran for 8 seasons from 1975 to 1982. And right next door at Forest Lawn in the Hollywood Hills is the gravesite of one of the stars of the show. Jack So, whose real name was Goro Suzuki, is buried in the Eternal Love section, which is the second section to the left, just inside the front gates. His gravesite does have a GPS on his Find a Grave Memorial page, and it's pretty easy to find, but I'll still pan around so you can get a better idea of where he's located within this pretty large section. So died in Westwood, California at the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center on January 11, 1979 at the age of 61. Toward the end of the 4th season, he had been diagnosed with esophageal cancer and sadly then died near the beginning of the 5th season. Fans of the show will remember that he played Sergeant Nick Yemana. Actor Steve Landsberg, who played police detective Arthur P. Dietrich, died from colon cancer at the age of 74 in Los Angeles on December 20th, 2010. He was cremated and unfortunately has no final resting place to visit at this time. Actor Ron Carey, who played Officer Carl Lovett, died from a stroke at Cedars Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles on January 16, 2007 at the age of 71. His final resting place is unknown at this time. Actor James Gregory, who played Inspector Frank Luger, died from natural causes at the age of 90 in Sedona, Arizona on September 16, 2002. He's buried at Sedona Community Cemetery in Sedona, Arizona. Like James Gregory, actor Abe Vigoda is also buried out of state. He's buried at Beth David Cemetery in Elmont, New York. Vigoda died, presumably from natural causes, at the age of 94 in Woodland Park, New Jersey, on January 26, 2016. Vigoda played the very popular character Sergeant Philip K. Fish, which was spun off into his own TV sitcom in 1977, which was titled Fish. The gravesite of the next cast member is located about 45 minutes to an hour west of here at Rose Hill Cemetery in Whittier, California. Actor Ron Glass, who played Detective Ron Harris, is laid to rest here. The cemetery is so enormous and divided into so many large sections that there are 20 different gates to enter. To find Glass's gravesite, you enter through the main gate, gate number 1, and drive all the way up to the very top of the hill, and it's quite a long drive. His section is on the other side of the hill to the left. As some of you who watch my channel on a regular basis know, many of my family members are buried here at Rose Hills, and I come here often, and I had no idea that Ron Glass was laid to rest here. I mean, he's only been here a couple of years, but he's here in this newer section here at the top of the hill, and he has one of the most unique headstones I've ever seen. I'm not sure what kind of metal. It looks like it's maybe copper or maybe bronze, and all it has is his name. No dates, no epitaph, nothing else. Just very simple. The larger section where he's located is called the Terrace of the Season, And his gravesite is located near the bottom of the hill in the Oasis of Eternity 2 area of the section. Glass died from respiratory failure in Los Angeles on November 25, 2016, at the age of 71. And you can see here how his gravesite really stands out from all the others. Because of the bright sun and the shiny metal reflections, it's hard to get a good angle right now without my shadow over the gravesite, but it's still pretty impressive and unique. This section is also pretty unique because there isn't a single tree. And I don't know if that's on purpose or if it's just because this is a newer section and they haven't planted them yet. Since Barney Miller was set in New York City, just down the street from the World Trade Center, and this is the 19th anniversary of the September 11, 2001 attacks on the World Trade Center, as I pan around, I want to share with you a comment left by a subscriber. Paul Oliveri says that he was a police officer from 1986 to 2006, and he was also one of the first responders to the Twin Towers on 9/11. Sadly, as a result, he says he's currently being treated for lung disease from the 9/11 medical division. Watching the towers fall on television was so devastating and so haunting, I can't even imagine being there in person on that day. This year, in addition to thinking about all of the victims of that tragic day, I'm also thinking about Paul and all of the first responders who risked their lives to save whoever they could save that day. So thank you, Paul, and all of the other Pauls who survived that awful and memorable day. I'm sure that everyone here wishes you the best. I only visited the World Trade Center Twin Towers once. It was on my very first trip to New York City back in 1978. And I took the elevators all the way up to the observation deck, and I remember that you actually had to take 2 elevators to get there. I remember that the elevators were so fast that it was almost like a scary ride at an amusement park. And I remember sending a Twin Towers postcard to my mom, which she still has. If any of you have personal stories that you'd like to share in the comments section with us, either on or before or after the attacks, I'm sure all of us would like to read them. It's one of those days in history where everyone remembers where they were when they heard the news, and everyone has a story to share. So feel free to share yours here with all of us if you would like to. I'm happy to say that all of the remaining main cast members are still alive. Actor Hal Linden, who played Captain Barney Miller, is now 89 years old. Max Gail, who played Detective Stan Wojciechowicz, is now 77 years old. Barbara Barrie, who played Elizabeth Miller, is now 89 years old. And Gregory Sierra, who played Detective Sargent Chano, is now 83 years old. And this week I'd like to thank Thomas Summit, my latest PayPal supporter. Thank you so much, Thomas, for your extra generous contribution. I also want to thank my 2 new PayPal supporters, Sky Marie and Catherine Saputer. Thank you, Sky and Catherine, for your extra generous contributions. I also want to thank all of my subscribers who suggested that I do this vlog. Kathy DiMartino, JP, Juan Guerrera, Mr. Headbanger366, Deborah Harrison, Isaiah Lockridge, Mr. LPN2, Nate2003, Jennifer Whitewolf, Marianne Lockwood, Sheila Blish, Danny1743, Anthony White, Brian Quilty, and last but not least, Microphone and Casey Kasem Yes Balloon No. And yes, that is actually a real YouTube channel name. So until our next trip down memory lane together, happy and safe travels, everyone.